All right, so
Yeah,
today we have the chance of having Jonas Almtorp with us in the first ever segment about coaching and so PC. I think we call this the blueprint, right?
right. We're gonna dig in a bunch of different country, different culture. So I think that the name, the blueprint, is the one that we got hooked on, and let's try to find what's the other countries have over Canada right now, over Quebec. What's shaking over there that we can bring here?
Exactly. So Jonas, you played how many games total did you played in professional? I was trying to count like a 500-600 professional game.
Yeah, something like that in Swedish SHL, probably around 600, and then a season in North America, in Austria, and a few seasons in the second league in Sweden as well. So I don't even know how many games, but
Too many,
yeah, too many. Yeah,
too many to count. And
17, 18 years pro, something
yeah,
like
and
that.
you
Yeah.
were also you ran your hockey camp that we'll have the chance to talk about that a little
Yes.
bit
Yeah.
later. You were a pro scout with the Avalanche, also, and now you're assistant coach in Almtuna in the Allsvenska league in Sweden.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but also we played together in Södertälje. We had a great time, same line and everything. So we had a good time there with people in Quebec will remember her head coach was Peter Popovich. So
Oh yeah. Yeah.
we had a good time with Poppy
Two
and
best two best years for
yeah,
sure.
so it
Yeah.
was a great time. So
Yeah.
again, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks.
Or thanks for being with us. And I guess the question that everybody wants to know is what's going on in Sweden. How do you guys do it? Like, you guys win now the World Juniors. We see players in the NHL having an impact. So, what's in the magic sauce in Sweden right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think there's any magic sauces, but the thing is that we haven't won very much on the junior level in World Junior, but the Swedish Hockey Federation have done a really good job the last years. We have a responsible for the development, John Lind, have done a tremendous job. Making sure every team, every coaches has the right tools to bring to the players. Um, and we when we talk about development, we talk about skill level. We talk about physics. We talk about the mental and social aspect of the game, and the tactics, how you think the game, and that's something we. Oh, sorry about that. We um, we came a long way with those four great pillars of the game. I think when you look at the mental aspect of the game, for example, how we approach the big games, how we can stay relaxed and think the game the right way when it counts the most. And that's something we saw in the World Juniors, how the players could play the right way, relaxed when it counted the most, and that's something that yeah we've done a really good job lately with that. And like when you say that, like what's the preparation behind it? Like how do you guys approach this the way of like how do you train a player to be calm, to be relaxed and play the right way? Because playing the right way right now is what any player that wants to achieve good things in hockey wants to Yeah. go to the next level, they have to do, right? So what's the approach on teaching that to the young guys? The thing is that all these four things that I just said, like physics, mentality, skill level, and tactics, it goes all together, right? Because if you learn tactics, you learn the players to be individual smart on the ice, how to protect the puck, how to create time and space for yourself. You become calm, right? You get confidence with the puck. You feel that you can take the right decision, you can make the right plays. And for example, a few years back, we only focused on the skills, like stick handling around cones, skating in a nice way, doing turns that makes no sense. And what happens when the game is on, when it's 5-on-5, you get stressed, right? Because you can't be calm when it's chaos unless you practice on it. So that's something that I think, especially if we look at this year's World Junior squad, I think you can see that they had the individual tactics that makes them confident and calm when it counts the most. And the opposite of that is obviously stressed and you make the wrong decisions. So that's what I mean. Like if you practice a lot of skills, that's good. Everybody need to be skilled, but you also need to practice when to use the skill. And that's something where a lot of coaches and a lot of players miss out.
So
And
when
yeah,
you do this like in a setting of a practice, or if we bring it to basic,
yeah,
we see it a lot with our youth, like, and so
mm,
many guys now do the skill in the summer, and they have skill coach, skill, and sometimes
yeah,
we play with younger guys, and we look at the warm up, and you're like, oh my God, like that guy, like
yeah,
what is he doing here? Like he should be playing in the NHL warm up, like toe drags,
yeah,
everything, and then the game starts, and it's just beer league, so we're just having fun. But right away,
yeah,
you're like, the guy skates like the wind, shoots unbelievable stick handle, like I've never stick handle in my life, but yet you start the game and nothing's
yeah,
going on, right? So
yeah,
how do you do that during a practice to create that chaos? For example, like, because I understand the skill, it's
yeah,
easy, you go around the cones, but you were saying you're doing less of that. So what do you do in practice to bring all of that together?
yeah. We divide the ice in different areas where we always have a game going on. Like the game, offense and defense is the what everybody have to learn at first, right? Be on the right side and how to find a way forward with the puck. Like that's obvious. So when we practice the youth, one part of the ice is always a game going on. 2-on-2, 3-on-3, whatever. The goal, like the net could be really small, could be a net with a goalie, could be a small tire on the ice, whatever. As long as it's a game. And then other parts of the ice should be maybe skill or yeah, something else. But uh, it's so important that you practice all these four things that I talked about, because when I look at, sometimes I stay in a rink and I watch youth hockey practice, and all they do is some kind of skills from the end board to the end board, back and forth, try to skate a certain way, which is good. But if you do that too much, you miss out on so much that's actually the what counts in the end. Like you said, these guys, they can shoot, they can skate, they're big and strong, but what counts the most is the head, and that's what they practice the least. Um, so that's something that you need to cover all the four parts. And when I look at a lot of players or countries, they haven't done that. So then, of course, when it comes to pressure and mentality and stuff like that, there's always different circumstances. I know that playing in Canada is tougher for Canadians than for the Swedes coming over as underdogs. But still, you have to learn to make the plays when it counts the most. And then also our system is built like that like the best players are gonna play bigger and better games in a good way that where you can still have the let's say we want as many players as possible continuing playing hockey because we don't have so many players in Sweden, right? So we need everybody to stay in the game. But within that system, we have we make the best players and the best teams develop in their own pace, kind of in a really good way, really healthy, and yeah, of course, makes good development too for the players.
So you talked a little bit about like system and strategy as a team. Like here we talk a lot about like the D zone, let's say. And I'm curious to see what's you guys' philosophy behind the D zone. Like, do you guys play man on man? Are you more zone? Like, what's the frame that you guys teach the youth?
That's really different. We when we're coaching young kids, we don't have any systems. Like there's not a lot of guidelines for the kids, like how to do in certain area. When I talk about tactics, I talk more about individual tactics. So I give an example. If I come down to the corner, pick up a puck, I have a D behind me. Some players they show the D the puck when they pick it up, right? Instead of protecting the puck, put it
Yeah.
on the other side of the body, which is basic for most of the people listening. But when you look at the players, it's not. So that's the kind of individual tactics. Where do I put the puck, depending on where the D is coming from, right? So stuff like that. So when we talk about tactics, it's more individual tactics and understanding the game more. So back to your question, like in the D zone, when I was coaching the youth, we had one rule: the closest guy to the puck, he attack, like he put pressure on the puck. That's it, okay? The other ones have to be on the right side of their guy.
Right.
That's it. And then on the offensive zone, we had one rule, which is two players on the blue line, which means if the D got the puck and he want to attack, go down the board, attack the net or whatever, yeah, someone else have to fill it in for him and read that play to say, okay, now I have to go back. So basically, the players change position in the shift,
Right.
and they have to be able to read. And at this time, they were like from maybe 12 to 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
That makes them really like they can anticipate what's going on. Okay, the D is going down the board. Someone have to cover up because the rule is two players on the blue line, right?
Yeah.
When we play like that, we can have a really mobile offense, but still have security back, and everybody can play all positions.
That makes sense.
And that's also really hard to defend against.
To defend,
Right.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember when I played in Sweden, and one of the things that really stuck with me is that everybody in Sweden, I felt like there was not so much a big difference between the number one guy. Yeah, we had maybe Linus Klassen that was like
Mhm.
super skilled guy, right? That you
Yeah.
was maybe outstanding out, but most of the guys were similar. Some guys were
Yeah.
a little bit better, but very similar guy that you could be on the first line or the fourth line any day and would be the same. And I remember, I think it was Farstad that was running three power plays unit, and
Yeah.
most of the
Yeah.
team they had three units, and everybody, it seems like everybody in Sweden just plays the game the right way, like very
Yeah.
tough. And what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense about it. Doesn't matter where you are. We just need two guys at the blue line, and then pretty
Yeah.
much do whatever you want. You're the closest to the puck, put pressure, you know, my guy, your
Yeah.
guy, doesn't matter, right? So it just seems that
Yeah.
everybody grows up to become a good player overall, you know, and
And that's how
that's
we
one thing
that's we
that I
teach.
remember from
Yeah.
Sweden. It was very it was
Yeah.
probably, you know, I had the chance to play in probably all the top leagues in the world, and it was the toughest league to play was Sweden, 100%. Like there was no holes. You had to fight for every inches. Everybody's
Yeah.
blocking shots. Everybody's like skating like the wind. Like it's very tough, complete league, you know. And yeah,
That's what
there's just
everybody say. Everybody say, really disciplined too. Like
mhm,
every line coming in on the ice have to like stay on the system and be on the on the same page. And that's something we really stress. And I I agree with you. We Swedish players are like that, and that's a strength. But also, like we don't get the top scorers, for example. If you want to like put it that way, I think we got one player that scored 50 goals in the NHL. So everybody's good at everything, kind of.
mhm. But
So if you look
everybody's
at
like a Fosberg, a Zetterberg. You think about your top
that,
ever player.
that's the
They they
names that
they
come to mind. Yeah.
they
If
were
you
like unreal players, but they were
yeah
not like a McDavid, you know, like they were
yeah
very good, but
exactly.
not the same way, you know.
But the
If you look
work ethic was there,
the work ethics, and if you look at those players, you can put them in on the ice on in every situation. If you look at Forsberg, Sandin, Sedins,
yeah,
Sederberg, yeah, you name it, and it goes down. I think nowadays maybe some players are a little bit more offensive minded. Like if you look at Nylander, for example, he's probably more more to that
Anderson.
side. But yeah, but other than that, we try to be more complete and but that's what again when you look at our model how to develop players, we want to put like a pretty wide base foundation on the player. Like we never tell them from a young age that you have to be fast and shoot hard. You're going to be a scorer, a winger. You know, that's not what we do. Like we put them forward, we put them defense, we put them center. A lot of guys probably play goalie on a few years as well. So
That's
that's
awesome. That's
yeah,
great. No, but
yeah,
when
but
you think about it, I remember when we were talking when you had Victor, your son, and we
mm,
were talking about kids, you know, and what
yeah,
to do. And I remember we were saying, all right, if you want to be player in the NHL, and PC, listen to this. It's funny. He just had this his baby born, baby boy, and I didn't have my kid yet, and we were talking. So we were like, okay, you know, what's the best position that you have the most odds? Like if you had to build the player, what would it be? And so we started talking, analyzing the different style, and you're like, I think if you're like a 6 foot right-handed puck moving defenseman, that's where your best odds of becoming a NHL or at least play somewhere. So fast forward a few years, Victor, if you tell us what kind of a player he is.
no, he's a 6'4" actually,
Oh
right-handed
wow.
defenseman, puck moving. He's way
Right-handed?
right-handed. Yeah. He's got a great shot and way more physical than we ever talked about the player to be. But that's the way it went. He went through a growth spurt that he's still like recovering from. He needs some strength. He grew so much, but that's what turned out to be. And he
So
was forward.
you build the perfect hockey
No,
player.
no. So
That's
this is the
perfect.
no. This is the thing. He was a goal scorer at young age, and he never backchecked. He was not on the own side of the red line, you know, like he was always in front. And then we didn't have any defense in our team at youth team, and at that year, Cale Makar was really good in the playoffs for Avalanche, and he kind of saw that, and he said, "Yeah, I can be D too because I can do what he's doing."
That's amazing.
That's why he became a D actually. But he's not Kevin McCarr, but he's that's how he turned to be a D. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, that's amazing that Victor. And how's the season this year?
What's that?
How's Victor's season so far?
Yeah, it's going well. It's the first year that he moved away from home,
Yeah.
so yeah, he needs some time to adapt. Learn to
Hmm.
cook and go up in the morning and stuff like that. But they're doing well. They got a great program
So is he in
down
SHL
there.
or Allsvenskan?
So he's playing juniors, like
Oh, he's still
18.
junior. Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. He's
okay,
under
okay.
18, so he's in. No, but they like they practice in school every morning, 4 mornings a week. They got some kind of practice, and then also in the afternoon and games in the weekends. So
Yeah, because
yeah.
so for people listening also that they
Mhm.
want to know, one of the things that I think is great in Sweden for especially is that the 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 junior team is like the farm team of the professional team, right? So
Yeah,
like every team has their so and how far does it go down? Like so you take Rogla for example, where Victoria is, or Rogla is in Allsvenska, the professional, or in the SHL.
SHL. Yeah, they're
So
they're
they're
in
in the top
SHL.
league. Yeah, so the
Yeah,
top league in Sweden, and then they
yeah,
have their junior program. That's your where Victor is, right? And
yeah,
after
yeah.
that, does that keep going down with Rogla, or
All
it
the way
stops?
all the way to the start, very start in the like 6 year olds. They also play in Rogla, and I was there in the weekend, and I went into the big arena where the SHL team plays, and they were doing like they had 7 year olds in the on the ice in the big arena
Wow.
uh, practicing like the first strides right there with the Rogla jerseys. And yeah, that's how it is. That's how all the teams are doing here. Um, and then of course around the big cities there are smaller teams as well. But maybe later the some players go to the big team when they get older. So yeah, that's how it works. And when they after the ninth grade, they move to the bigger school, and they start to play the U18 hockey, and that's where the most SHL and Allsvenska teams collect the players that they believe in and make a team out of that. And they practice a lot, like 4 times a week in the morning, and then also in the afternoon, and then they play games in the weekends. So all these big teams, I want to say SHL and Allsvenskan, have
So
these.
you say they practice twice a day, 4 times a week,
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
ninth grade, right? So like they're 13, 14 years old.
No, this would be after ninth grade, so 15, 16.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's where the intensity, the ice time is now almost double up, right?
yeah, that's a big step
Yeah.
for many players,
So you say,
especially with the morning practice, and that's also where a lot of this, like they go more to the gym, obviously, and they get more educated in the mental part of the game. A lot of teams have a sports psychologist connected to the team, also at junior level, which is a big part because they educate the players to think the right way when the pressure is getting on and the games are getting bigger and better, and some players are going to national team, to world championships, and also get a chance to play for the SHL team, which could be nerve-wracking for a 16, 17-year-old. They have to handle that pressure on the right way, and that's a little bit what I mean, that all the tools are there for the players, and the teams are using it very well, I think, to educate and develop players the right way.
My sounds odd as a question, but
Mhm.
when you say the sports psychologist like is around the team, like how often?
Um, I think I can't speak for all the teams, but in some teams that I know, the players have free usage of the sports psychologist. So they book a time the same way you book a hairdresser or something
Yeah,
on an app, and they and it's always different. And some for a 15, 16-year old, it could be hard in the beginning to start to trust that kind of practice and talk to them and learn how to use them. But once they start, I think it's really helpful. And the older juniors, 19, 20-year-olds, they use it a lot. I want to say, and that's really really good because Yannick, like we said also, when you talk about Federer, Tiger Woods, like all these big athletes, no matter what sport, when it comes down to the moment where they're gonna win or lose, it's all decided in the head, and that's what you practice the least. Like you can stick handle how much you want, but if you can't do it when the game is on the biggest stage, it has no makes no sense, right? So I think that's something that the Swedish teams have done a really good job um, on doing.
I think we're onto something here, Le Manitou, là. I think this is something that I think Sweden is doing the right thing with this the sports psychologist. And now, like, is the sports psychologist, is he like, does he know about the structure of the team? Can he answer question? Is he part of like the whole thing, or he's completely doesn't know anything about hockey? He's only like,
I think he knows a lot, probably more about sport in general. Like if you look at if you're gonna play a final, no matter what sport, there are a lot of similarities, right? How you think the game, or even if it's golf or tennis or whatever. So they know a lot, and they can give the players the tools how to prepare mentally for the big stage
But he's not
in their
necessarily like on the road and talking with the
no
coaches about strategies or anything. He's still like more of an
no
independent guy that is just
yeah
affiliated with the team
yeah
for that
yeah
reason. Okay.
yeah right
And you talk about, because I thought it was interesting. One of the things that's like a little bit different here in Quebec and in Canada, two ice a day, it's unheard of. Like it's like, oh, it's too much ice. In Europe, it's everywhere you go, it's twice
yeah
on the ice. But I know in Sweden,
yeah
as much as you guys are on the ice twice a day, you don't do
hmm
that in the summer, don't you? Like in the summer,
no
it's really off. So that's where PC, I think that's something also that we overload the players here in Quebec and in Canada with the all year round stuff. But when it's time, I think we don't necessarily use that twice a day and be on the ice more to get the skill developed. I don't know. How is it
no
if
no
you take us through a
it's
year?
true
If you take us
yeah
through a year, a January, maybe not start
yeah
in January, but let's say we start in the summer. Season just ended. What do a typical young guy? Let's not talk about pro because pro is another stuff.
mm,
But let's say
mm.
you were giving the example of a 15-year-old, so or a 12-year-old. Like how does it
Yeah,
go in the
that's
summer?
that's that's been a problem too because we think the young guys sometimes have too much ice here as well, and because they want to get better, and they think the more ice the better, right? But it's actually not. It burns you out. So like running, playing soccer, tennis, stuff like that is way better than play skate on the ice year round. That's how we see it. But we do it twice a day for the 16-year-olds. But when you think about that, like in the morning of a practice like that in the school, they could be working on details like protecting the puck, how to be smart in certain areas. And then they do it for an hour, like only that part of the game. So it's not a skate, like team skate or whatever. Like they could have a theme for 3 weeks, which is passing, receiving, and shooting, for example. So there's not a lot of skating. It's more like work with the hands, how to receive the puck, how to give it forehand, backhand, saucer, whatever. Take the puck out from the board. More like detail-oriented practice in the mornings, and then in the evening it's more with a team. That's team structure, maybe a little bit more intense skate. So when you practice like that, you get parts of everything that you need in the game. So when it's less intense in the morning, I think you can manage to practice twice a day.
Yeah, that's great. So when they're young, you guys are more like you said, like tennis, whatever, soccer, all the other sports. So at what age you think is important to decide, okay, now I should focus just on hockey when the kid decide like I want to be a pro? What age you think like is the
um that's it's hard to say, but when you start this school after ninth grade, you have to make a decision, like to go. If you want to go all in on hockey, you don't have time or energy to do something else. But I want to remind you that the Sedin twins, they were in the national team for 16-year-olds in both hockey and soccer. Like they tried out for teams in the first league in soccer as well when they were 16. So and
That's amazing.
that is amazing.
yeah.
And so they were playing soccer in the summer and hockey in the winter, and that's how you did it, and it turned out pretty good. And they also learn like how to think the game, no matter what sport you're playing, like floorball, handball, soccer, where you have to run, but also think the game like a team game. You have to use your teammates and understand the game.
Yeah,
It's
and
really
sometimes
really helpful.
your strength in hockey could be your speed, but in soccer you could be a slow soccer player. So you need
Yeah,
to think differently. So I think when you do the same, like for me, it's funny. My kids, they don't play hockey, so they play soccer
yeah,
and basketball.
yeah,
And that's my youngest. Just he loves soccer. That's his best sport, and I kind of force him to play basketball just
yeah,
because it's like hand. He's a very fast guy,
yeah,
with soccer, you can sometimes put the ball ahead and sprint and get it, right? But
yeah,
basketball, you need to be able to handle it every step of the way. So now he's more of a passer
yeah,
when he plays basketball, but he's for sure a shooter, powerful, like a winger in soccer. So it helps him, I feel, to think the game differently because his strengths are not the same, but it's the same mind, right? So it
yeah.
helps you, it forces you to watch the game in a different way.
It is, and I like basketball. I got a funny story for you. When my son Victor, when he was like 10, 11 or something, he had a lot of friends going to skills camps, and they were away the whole summer. And I say, like, if you want to do that, that's fine. Like, it's okay. But I said it was not for us. It was not for me. I didn't like it, and Victor wanted to go, but and then I bought him a basketball hoop. I put it in the driveway. And he was so mad at me. This is what I get. He said, "This is what I get. All the other guys are going on skills camp, and I get the basketball hoop. What do I do with this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a fun game. Let's play." And
Yeah.
he was so pissed at me. And then at the end of the summer, he was playing 6 hours a day.
Oh
At
my
the
God, huh?
Yeah, and he outplayed me big time, which I
And it
liked.
didn't,
So
and it for sure didn't hurt him. Came
that's what I mean.
the
Like
yeah.
I think it turned out better. Like because he were out in the sun, he was running, and if you look at the way you play basketball, how you
Jumping, you jump,
jumping,
you
you twist and turn, you protect from the D and stuff
yeah.
like that. So it's a great summer sport to get away from the hockey, but still get better at hockey.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, that's great. I think I don't know what you think, many too, but I got most of the information we need, and that was the psychologist part was the one that like, okay, maybe we're lacking here
Yeah.
because it's like it's still a sign of weakness over here, like
And
I,
that's the tough part. Like you have to break that kind of wall
yeah,
and when you start. But that's what I also do with my company, the Sweden Hockey Institute. I go to a lot of teams and I talk to players and parents how to think the game, like from a youth level. And it's not that deep, but still you need an understanding how to approach the game, especially from parents who are insane sometimes, the way they talk and behave on the stands and stuff like that, and for them to understand that they can help the kids that way, like they have to be supportive in a different way and stuff like that. So that's a big part. And I mean, if you look at the best players or athletes in any sport, they worked with the mental part of the game too. It's not only the skill.
yeah, and I was a witness in while I was with Tampa, even in their the AHL affiliation, we had the sports psychologist coming in, like that was 2012.
Yeah,
And and for us, it was more of a team bonding kind of
yeah,
activity with the psych, but
yeah.
some guys were using it, but you would never know who, right? It
No,
was kind of
no.
a
Yeah,
enclosed door, like
yeah,
I don't want other guys to know on the team. But now it's like you said, like Tempa's doing it. They all
yeah,
have their appointment, and look at them, look at their success the past 10
yeah,
years. And
yeah.
so I think
You should train the brain like any muscle on your body. That's
that's
how I
For
believe it.
sure.
And
And
that
like you
mm,
said about the Federer, I saw something the other day. He was giving a speech or something, and Federer was saying of all. Oh, I think we lost him. But what I was gonna say, maybe Jean-Mi
mm.
can do some magic when
Yeah,
to
yeah, cut
clip
it.
it together.
Yeah, yeah,
But I was gonna say I saw a clip by Federer. He was talking about all the points that he played, and I forget the stats. And maybe Jean-Mi can add it when we talk about this, just to make what I say put together. But it was something like of all the points that he played, he won only like 51% of his match. So it comes down to like nothing, right? Like it's the best
yeah,
player maybe to win the most title like ever, and he was explaining on how the margin he didn't win 80% of his matches. Like in his career, it
yeah,
was like 51% or something.
yeah,
Like that's crazy. You think Federer won all the time, but
yeah,
no, he won when he had to win. Every
yeah,
point that he had to
yeah,
win the championship, he won those. So I thought that was we're I guess the topic with you today is like the mental aspect of the game that
yeah,
we didn't maybe expect to go this route, but that's really what comes out who stands out for us is that aspect, and
yeah.
it's true.
I think so because if you look at this team that won the World Juniors, that's where we started. I think they played the best games when it counted the most, and that's what impressed me the most with these guys. How they can how they could play the right way when it counted the most, and that's something we've seen earlier that we kind of folded with as an individual when it counts, and but they didn't this year. So that really impressed me, and that's why we went in this topic. Yeah,
and that's gonna be our big line too. Train the brain just like any other muscle.
yeah,
That will be our punchline of our interview with you. And really appreciate you to take the time, and we'll try to shake it up. And again, like it's just kind of a new segment, so you're the first one to participate, and we're pretty happy about all the resource that you brought us, and we're gonna use it not just to make a point, but also to try to bring it to our culture here and for the youth, and get it involved with all the guys, and because it's such a big part of the game, and obviously it's been working for Sweden, and So I think it's
I
something
think it's a great way to get knowledge and pick people's brain and see what's going on in different parts of the world and how people work and things like that. So you're doing a great job. I think it's a great way to
yeah.
acknowledge this and so keep up the good work and thanks a lot for having me. It was a lot of fun.
I'm glad that you said the parents in Sweden are just as insane as here in Canada. So at least
Oh
we're
yeah.
not the only one having that
No, no,
problem.
no, no. They need some development too.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
Thank you,
so
Jonas.
Jonas,
Yeah.
I think we should end with a little French on for you.
Yeah, shut the floof. That's all I know.
We had this
Too
thing,
too much
PC, the
French.
first time we met, I don't know, it's a long time ago, but in Friends, the TV show Friends, like what's the name? Jesse, what was the guy, his name? Uh, I
Um,
forget that he was always stupid.
Joey in the
Joey,
show. Yeah.
and they talk about French, and he's like, yeah, I speak good French, and he's like, je te floof, and he was like, whatever, saying that. So the first time we met, he's like, yeah, I speak good French, and he gives me that line. So I thought that was pretty funny. We bonded right away. So,
Yeah.
but thanks, Jonas,
Great times.
for being on the air with us, and we'll do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great
Thank you, guys.
stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, man.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye.